My friends, let me tell you something. Fear is the prison we build for ourselves. It's not the world that holds us back. It's the walls we create inside our own minds. Fear whispers in your ear, stay where you are. Don't risk it. Don't try. Don't dream too big. And too often we listen. But let me remind you, everything you desire, everything you dream of, everything you were born to become, it lives outside of your comfort zone. The comfort zone may feel safe, but it is also the graveyard of potential, the graveyard of dreams. Nothing grows there. You've got to step out into the unknown. Yes, it's scary. Yes, you'll feel uncertain, but that's where life begins. That's where you discover your strength. That's where you meet the version of yourself you've never met before, the stronger, braver, wiser you. When fear shows up, don't back down. Stand tall and say, I was not created to shrink. I was created to rise. You have greatness within you, but you'll never see it until you walk toward the things that scare you most. Fear is not the enemy. Fear is the signal that you're on the edge of growth. Step out, dream bigger, push harder, because the world is waiting for you. Your family is waiting for you. Your destiny is waiting for you. And when you finally face your fear, when you break through those invisible walls, you'll discover that your potential is not just possible, it's unstoppable. So I say to you today, stop waiting. Stop doubting. Step out of your comfort zone and step into the life you were meant to live. Fear is not the monster in front of you. It is the monster within you. Most of the time, it is not the challenge itself that holds us back, but the story we tell ourselves about the challenge. We convince ourselves it's too big, too risky, too difficult. That story becomes the bars of the prison we live in. The reality is the obstacle outside is never as strong as the fear inside. Think about it. How many times have you delayed taking action, not because the situation was impossible, but because you imagined everything that could go wrong? You created pictures in your head of failure, of rejection, of embarrassment, and those images froze you in place. That's the prison fear builds. Invisible walls made of imagination and doubt. Fear has a way of magnifying things. A small step forward feels like climbing a mountain. A single conversation feels like walking into battle. Fear whispers, what if you fail? What if they laugh at you? What if you're not enough? And before you even try, you surrender. The chains are not made of steel, they are made of thoughts, and thoughts can be heavier than iron when they are fueled by fear. The danger is this: when you live in that prison long enough, you start to decorate it. You call it safety, you call it comfort. You tell yourself, this is just who I am. This is just the way things are, but that's not truth. That's fear convincing you to settle for less than you deserve. Safety is not the same as freedom, and comfort is not the same as living. Every time you bow down to fear, you reinforce the bars of that prison. You strengthen the walls that hold you back. And the more you feed fear, the more it grows. Fear thrives in silence, in hesitation, in the moments when you give it power. But the truth is, fear has no real power until you believe its lies. The prison of fear is an illusion. It only exists in your mind. Step outside and you'll see most of the obstacles were shadows, not giants. Most of the barriers were smoke, not stone. And yet, many people spend their lives locked inside, never realizing the door has been open the whole time. What would happen if you stopped listening to fear's voice? What would happen if, just for a moment, you believed that you were capable, that you were enough, that you could handle whatever comes your way? That single shift in thinking can tear down the walls of that prison faster than anything else. Because fear is a mental jail and freedom is a choice. The truth is simple. The battle is not out there in the world, it is in your mind. Conquer your fear and the world opens up to you. But if you let fear rule you, even the smallest challenge will feel impossible. Remember this: fear builds prisons, but courage builds bridges. And those bridges lead to the life you are meant to live. Everything you have ever dreamed of, the success, the growth, the freedom, the joy, it all lies beyond the walls of your comfort zone. Inside the comfort zone, life feels safe and familiar, but it is also limited. You already know what's there. And if you keep doing what you've always done, you'll keep getting what you've always had. To reach something greater, you must step into a place that feels uncertain, because uncertainty is where possibility lies. The comfort zone is like a small room you've decorated with habits, routines, and predictable outcomes. It feels cozy, but it's also confining. The dreams in your heart are not inside that room. They're on the other side of the door, calling your name. The problem is, to get there, you have to be willing to walk into the unknown where things may not go according to plan. But here's the truth: greatness never comes from staying comfortable. Think about the people you admire most, the leaders, the innovators, the visionaries. None of them achieved what they did by staying where it was easy. They had to risk stepping out. They had to face uncertainty. They had to leave behind the comfort zone that tempted them to stay small. Every breakthrough in human history was born from someone daring to go beyond what was familiar. When you step outside of your comfort zone, you give yourself the chance to grow. Growth doesn't happen in the familiar. Growth happens when you push your limits, when you challenge yourself, when you put yourself in situations where you're not sure if you can succeed. It is in those moments that you discover strength, creativity, and resilience you never knew you had. Staying in your comfort zone may protect you from failure, but it also shields you from success. It may protect you from rejection, but it also blocks you from connection. It may protect you from struggle, but it also keeps you from progress. The price of comfort is your potential, and that is far too high a price to pay. Opportunities don't live inside the circle of safety. They live on the edges, where you're stretched, where you're tested, where you're forced to rise above the level you're used to. That's why so many people miss out on the life they were meant to live. They never cross that line. They look at the discomfort and retreat, and instead of moving forward and finding out what's waiting for them. Everything you desire, whether it's financial freedom, a stronger body, a loving relationship, or a fulfilled purpose, it's not inside the comfort zone. It's waiting in the space where you're willing to be vulnerable, to risk failure, to face fear, and to try anyway. That's where the magic happens. That's where potential turns into reality. The comfort zone is a trap disguised as safety. If you truly want the life you've imagined, you must be willing to step out, to risk more, and to embrace the unknown. Because everything you desire lies just beyond that line, and the only way to get it is to cross over. The comfort zone has a way of tricking us. It whispers, "Stay here. You're safe. Nothing can harm you if you don't take risks." And while that may sound appealing, it's a dangerous lie. Because the comfort zone doesn't protect your dreams, it buries them. It becomes the place where ideas die, where passion fades, and where potential is laid to rest without ever being lived. Think of the countless people who once had dreams burning in their hearts but chose the comfort zone instead of courage. They told themselves they would try one day, or when the time is right, but days turned into years, and years turned into a lifetime of waiting. The comfort zone is where those dreams were quietly buried, never given the chance to see the light. Safety is seductive, but it comes at a cost. When you choose comfort over challenge, you trade growth for stagnation. You may avoid the sting of failure, but you also avoid the thrill of victory. You may avoid the discomfort of risk, but you also avoid the transformation that only comes from stretching yourself. The comfort zone steals your future and disguises the theft as protection. Potential is a living thing. It needs to be nurtured, tested, and expressed. But when you stay in your comfort zone, potential suffocates. It sits unused like a seed that never gets planted. That seed could have grown into something extraordinary, but in the soil of comfort it remains nothing more than a possibility, an unfulfilled what could have been. Every time you choose the comfort zone, you dig the grave a little deeper. You may not notice it at first, because comfort feels good in the short term. It feels safe to stay where you are, to avoid the unknown. But slowly your fire dims, your hunger fades, and your dreams shrink until you hardly recognize them. That's the slow death of potential. The saddest part is, many people don't realize they're burying their potential while they're still alive. They think they're protecting themselves, but in truth, they're denying themselves. They look back years later with regret, wondering what could have happened if they had dared to step beyond comfort. And regret is the heaviest weight you can carry. You were not designed to live in a graveyard of potential. You were created to live fully, to express your gifts, to take risks, and to see how far you can go. The comfort zone may feel like home, but it is not where your destiny lies. Your destiny requires courage, boldness, and the willingness to walk away from the safety that's holding you back. So whenever you feel tempted to stay in your comfort zone, remind yourself, it's not just safety, it's the silent burial ground of your potential. And every step you take outside of it is a step toward life, growth, and the future you were meant to create. Fear is often misunderstood. Most people see fear as a stop sign, a warning to retreat, a signal that something dangerous is ahead. But in truth, fear is not your enemy. Fear is a messenger. It doesn't come to destroy you. It comes to alert you that you are standing on the edge of change, on the threshold of growth. When fear shows up, it's proof that you're about to step into something bigger than where you've been. Think about the times you felt fear the strongest. It's usually when you're about to do something that matters, speaking in public, taking on a new role, making a bold decision, or pursuing a dream. Fear rises because you're leaving the familiar. It's your body and mind saying, pay attention. This is new territory. That feeling isn't a signal to back down. It's a sign that you're moving towards something that can stretch and transform you. Growth never happens in comfort, and because of that, fear becomes the compass pointing you toward growth. If you never feel fear, it means you're not pushing hard enough, not aiming high enough, not stepping far enough outside of what's safe. Fear is like a flashing light saying, here's the place where you'll discover more of yourself. The greatest mistake people make is believing fear means stop. They confuse the feeling of discomfort with danger. But most of the time, fear is not telling you that you're in danger. It's telling you that you're evolving. And the discomfort of growth is a sign that you are alive, learning and moving forward. Think about a butterfly emerging from its cocoon. The struggle looks painful, but that struggle is what strengthens its wings. Without it, the butterfly would never fly. In the same way, fear is the resistance you must face to gain your wings. It's the pressure that prepares you for flight. Without it, your potential remains grounded. If you run from fear, you run from growth. Every breakthrough in your life will require you to walk through fear, not around it. And the moment you push past it, you realize something powerful. Fear is not as strong as it pretends to be. Most of the time, the anticipation is far worse than the actual experience. Once you step through it, you wonder why you ever let it hold you back. Fear sharpens you. It forces you to focus, to prepare, to give your best. Athletes feel fear before the game, but they channel into performance. Speakers feel fear before they step on stage, but they use that energy to connect with the audience. Fear, when embraced, is fuel. It becomes the fire that drives you, not the chain that holds you. So the next time fear shows up, don't treat it as a wall. Treat it as a doorway. Recognize it for what it truly is. The signal that you're close to your next level, that you're standing at the border of your comfort zone and your potential. Fear is not your enemy. Fear is your invitation to grow. So many people walk through life carrying a false image of themselves. They see their weaknesses more clearly than their strengths. They remember their failures more vividly than their victories. And because of this, they convince themselves that they're not strong enough, not brave enough, not capable enough to achieve their dreams. But let me tell you the truth, you are far more powerful than you give yourself credit for. Life has already proven your strength. Think back to moments you thought you couldn't survive, but you did. Times when you were broken, but you got back up. Days when you were certain the weight was too heavy, but somehow you carried it anyway. Those moments are not accidents, they are evidence. They prove that your strength runs deeper than your doubts. Courage doesn't mean you don't feel fear. Courage means you feel the fear and you move forward anyway. Too often people wait for fear to disappear before they take action. But the bravest individuals are not the ones who feel no fear. They're the ones who act in spite of it. That bravery already lives inside you. You've simply forgotten how often you've used it. You are capable of so much more than your current circumstances suggest. The mind tends to underestimate what the heart can endure. That's why people often surprise themselves when they're put to the test. When you're pushed to the edge, something inside awakens, a grit, a fire, a power that you didn't know was there. That is who you truly are. The challenge is, most people never test themselves enough to discover their true capacity. They stay in comfort, they avoid risk, and so they never experience the full extent of their own strength. But the truth is, capability grows in motion. The more you step into challenges, the more you realize that the ceiling you thought was holding you down was never real. It was only in your mind. You've already proven your bravery in small ways. Every time you spoke up when it wasn't easy, every time you tried again after failing, every time you showed up when you felt like quitting, you were brave. The problem is, you dismiss those victories as small. But nothing about courage is small. Every act of bravery builds the foundation for the bigger battles you're meant to win. Strength is not always loud. Sometimes it's quiet. It's the patience to wait when everything in you wants to rush. It's the discipline to keep going when no one is watching. It's the resilience to rise again after being knocked down. And every one of those qualities lives inside of you right now, waiting for you to unleash them. Never forget your doubts may lie to you, but your history tells the truth. Your struggles, your scars, your victories, they are proof that you are stronger, braver, and more capable than you ever believed. And when you finally embrace that truth, you will begin to see that there is no limit to what you can do. Greatness has never been born in the land of certainty. Every person who has left a mark on this world has done so by stepping into the unknown, by daring to risk, by choosing to walk a path where the outcome was not guaranteed. If you are waiting for certainty before you move, you'll be waiting for the rest of your life. Because certainty is comfort, and comfort will never take you to greatness. The truth is, risk is the price you pay for a life of meaning. There is no achievement without the possibility of failure. There is no reward without the willingness to lose. And yet many people try to design a life where they can have success without risk, impact without sacrifice, growth without discomfort. That life does not exist. To claim your greatness, you must be willing to step into spaces where you cannot predict the outcome. Uncertainty is intimidating, yes, but it is also where opportunity hides. The doors that lead to your highest potential are never wide open and well lit. They're often behind walls of doubt, fogged in uncertainty and locked with risk. And the only key that opens them is courage. If you're unwilling to risk, you'll never find the doors. If you're unwilling to embrace uncertainty, you'll never step through them. Consider this: the greatest inventions, businesses, and breakthroughs were born because someone was willing to risk failure. They didn't know if it would work. They didn't know if people would support them. They didn't know if the path would lead to success or disaster, but they stepped anyway. And because they did, the world was changed. Risk doesn't mean recklessness. It means trusting yourself enough to take steps when you don't have every answer. It means believing that even if you stumble, you'll learn, you'll grow, you'll recover, and you'll come back stronger. Risk is not about being careless. It's about being courageous. It's about valuing your potential more than your comfort. Uncertainty has a way of awakening parts of you that comfort keeps asleep. When you don't know what's ahead, you sharpen your focus. You listen more closely to your instincts. You rise with determination you didn't know you had. In the unknown, you discover the leader, the innovator, the warrior within you, and that discovery is worth every ounce of uncertainty. Every great dream requires a leap. You can't tiptoe into destiny. You can't play it safe and expect extraordinary results. The leap is where you leave behind the shore of certainty and trust that you will either land on solid ground or learn how to fly on the way down. And either way, you grow. Either way, you win. So if you feel uncertain, if you feel the weight of risk, if you feel the trembling of doubt, that's the sign you're on the right path. Because greatness does not live in safety, it lives in the unknown, waiting for the brave souls who are willing to step into risk and claim what was always meant for them. Dreams are not handed to you on a silver platter. They are not gifts wrapped neatly and placed at your doorstep. Dreams demand something from you, your courage. They require you to face rejection, to endure setbacks, to walk through fear. Comfort will never be the currency that buys your dream. It is courage, and only courage, that can unlock the doors to the life you imagine. And comfort feels good in the moment, but it has no lasting reward. It gives you temporary ease, but robs you of long-term fulfillment. Courage, on the other hand, doesn't always feel good in the moment, but it pays dividends for the rest of your life. Every dream worth chasing will require you to trade comfort for courage. That's the exchange rate of greatness. If you choose comfort, you stay where you are. You settle. You live a smaller version of the life you were meant for. But when you choose courage, you step into new possibilities. You open yourself up to opportunities you could never see from the safety of your comfort zone. Comfort will keep you stuck, but courage will set you free. Think about it. Every bold dreamer in history had to choose courage over comfort. The writer who faced endless rejection before their words touched the world. The entrepreneur who risked everything on an idea when others laughed. The leader who stood alone for what was right when it would have been easier to stay silent. None of them found comfort, but all of them found purpose. Courage doesn't mean the absence of fear. It means acting in spite of fear. Dreams test you this way. They don't ask, "Are you comfortable?" They ask, "Are you willing?" They ask, "Will you risk? Will you sacrifice? Will you step forward when everything in you wants to step back?" That's why dreams separate the courageous from the complacent. The path to your dream will never feel easy. It will demand late nights, early mornings, and endless persistence. It will demand that you rise after failure again and again. But each act of courage builds momentum. Each brave step forward brings the dream closer. Comfort never moves you, but courage carries you forward. Dreams live on the other side of resistance. They are protected by challenges to test whether you truly want them. Comfort will turn you away at the first obstacle. Courage will push you through, climb higher, dig deeper, and keep moving no matter what. And in that persistence, in that fight, your dream begins to take shape. So remember this, your dream is not waiting for you to get comfortable. It's waiting for you to get courageous. It's waiting for you to put aside the need for ease and step into the fire of growth. Because dreams don't respond to comfort, they only respond to courage. Destiny is movement, it is forward motion. It is the unfolding of your life in alignment with the gifts, talents, and calling planted within you. But too many people are standing still, waiting for destiny to show up at their doorstep. Let me tell you, this destiny does not come to the motionless. It does not reward hesitation. It meets you in action, in motion, in the steps you take toward the unknown. Standing still may feel safe, but it is the slowest form of surrender. Every moment you remain stuck in hesitation, you are drifting further away from the life you were meant to live. Destiny is not a waiting game, it's a walking path, and if you refuse to move, you will never reach the place that was designed for you. Think of it like this: a ship cannot be guided if it never leaves the harbor. The winds cannot carry it, the compass cannot direct it, and the journey cannot unfold until the anchor is lifted. Your life works the same way. Destiny cannot steer you if you refuse to move. You've got to take the first step, even if it's shaky, even if it's uncertain, even if you don't see the full picture yet. Movement creates clarity. Too often we think we need to have it all figured out before we start, but the truth is clarity comes in motion. When you begin, doors open. When you take steps, when you act, momentum builds. But if you stand still, nothing changes. You remain trapped in the cycle of someday, and someday is where dreams go to die. Destiny is not reached in leaps, it's reached in consistent steps. One action leads to another. One brave decision creates a ripple that carries you closer to your purpose. But you'll never experience that ripple if you stay frozen in fear or waiting for perfect timing. Destiny honors progress, not perfection. Standing still also gives fear more power. The longer you hesitate, the louder the voice of doubt becomes. The longer you delay, the heavier your excuses grow. But when you move, even just a little, you weaken fear's grip. You prove to yourself that you are capable, that you can act, that you can push forward. Each step forward makes the next step easier. Your destiny is waiting, but it will not wait forever. Opportunities have windows, seasons shift, and moments pass. If you don't seize them by moving, they slip away. That's why action is urgent. Standing still costs more than risk ever will, because risk can lead to growth. But inaction always leads to regret, so don't stay stuck. Don't freeze in place while your destiny calls your name. Move forward, even if the step is small, even if the path is unclear. Just move, because your destiny cannot and will not come to you while you stand still. It is waiting for you to walk toward it.